we're not there yet. So I'm flying solo.
Here.
Here. Here. Here. Could we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance? Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, is everybody ready to rock and roll today so we can get down to the tournament?
I guess we are.
Well, if you don't give any speeches today, we'll be done by 4:15. Today, the consent agenda item is 2 through 14H. You can consider those items to pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is asked for by a council member. Please come up, when you come up to speak, either on an agenda item or under citizen concerns, state your name and address for the record. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
2 is a reading of the city council minutes of March 5th, 2018. 3 is a resolution scheduling a hearing on a $300 civil penalty against PG Mini Mart, 800 Hamilton Boulevard for violation of the Iowa cigarette laws. 4 is a resolution amending the position classification manual and pay schedule by adding a recreation coordinator in the Parks and Rec Department. 5 is a resolution approving a contract to W.A. Klinger for the Cook Park splash pad.
I have a question on that one, Mayor.
I did too.
Matt, how does the size of the Cook Park splash pad compare to the size of the one we have in Leeds?
Very similar. A little different shape, but very similar in size.
And then how about the one that will be at Cone Park?
That one is a lot larger because of the size of the rink. That one's 55 by 110, but it's a much different splash pad than the rest of them that we have in our system because there's only ground spray features, and these have, the ones such as Leeds and Cook have above ground features.
Okay, well, I'm really pleased to see how popular these splash pads are, and Leeds has proven that to be the case as well, and I don't think Cook Park will be any different. But
Right.
So they're kind of the same size, same design.
Yeah, there's different features. The iconic feature at Leeds was the big bucket. This one's a spider. We got input from the neighborhoods, from the neighborhood on the design itself.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Matt, one extra thing I had, and maybe it's not even for you, it was more the engineer's estimate, was 15% lower than the lowest bid that came in. And I guess my question that I was kind of along the line of Dan is, we seem to be doing a lot of these. Why are the estimates so far off?
Well, in this one in particular, we use CDBG funds, so there's Davis Bacon wages, which may have adjusted that. I don't know why the estimate was off compared to the bids, but usually they're fairly consistent.
I know Klinger has a concrete crew that doesn't have a lot of work, and last year they were at Seaboard Triumph, and so I'm sure they're looking for work for them.
Yeah, they're going to get started. We're going to have the pre-construction meeting here soon and get started on that one right away.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Looking forward to it.
thanks.
Would you as soon as you can on how it did?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, we're going to start pulling that together this week. We're meeting with the Cone Park Committee one last time at the beginning of April, so we'll have it to you at the latest the first week of April, if not sooner.
And I think an update on next steps would be really great too.
Yep, we can do
Kind
that.
of What we're looking at.
Okay.
Thanks, Matt.
6 is a resolution approving an application to the IEDA nominating Sioux City to the U.S. Department of Treasury for Opportunity Zone designation
When will that be submitted, Marty?
this week.
Yeah, this.
Yeah,
is
the
it
19th
the
is
dead-
the deadline?
When's the
Oh,
deadline?
the 19th.
So you'll be
So-
submitting it this week then?
Yes, that's the deadline the state has. We'll do it this week, just to be ahead of that a little bit. And then the governor of the state has another month to submit it to the Department of Treasury and ultimately make a recommendation. So the governor's office in their, the IEDA, they'll be looking at the applications and making a recommendation for up to 25% of the eligible tracts in Iowa, which would be 60. So we would be competing with the other communities in Iowa to be, have some of our census tracts be part of that 60.
You submit all 12?
We can,
tracts?
we'll, there's a application process the state has outlined. You can submit as many of our eligible ones as we'd like. So we have 12, we know that we have 12 that are eligible. So we're not likely to get more than a few, from what I understand, so.
Do you list them in a priority?
We will. We are working on that right now. We have a committee working on that. But the sort of the obvious first one, priority is, we have a very large census tract that includes the downtown, runs all the way down to Bridgeport, Southbridge, the airport. So it's quite a bit of land. So it's kind of a balancing between the eligibility factors, which are median income and unemployment rate and so on, and availability of sites and developments and businesses that may be able to take advantage of it. So I think, there are certain tracts that are smaller, maybe don't have as many opportunities for redevelopment or for, ultimately, it'll be a business or a development that will receive funding through these opportunity funds. So we want to make sure that we have tracts that meet the criteria, but that also have opportunities for redevelopment.
Those could be new businesses.
It could be.
Could be new businesses.
Very likely
as well as
would be.
existing
Right.
businesses.
Correct. And so it'll be a investment in a business. So it'll be a fund, that one of these investment funds. It's not a tax credit. It's not a grant. It's an capital investment by that fund into a business or development in your community. So say you had a company that was looking to grow and they need a little more capital to build a new building or similar to that, then this would be an opportunity for them. But they would be that fund would be investing as an equity owner in the business.
Part of your application process, does it call for like support letters from various groups in the
You
community?
can use support letters, but you're limited to like 5 pages in total, and there's an awful lot of information they're asking for. So they said, take that into account, is whether you want to get a bunch of letters, because it's going to use up a lot of our available space to apply. So they're asking for specific data on each of these areas, and then also they're asking for some of our track record and development, and so we want to show them what we've been able to do in the last few years, and then what our plans and visions are for the future of those areas. So,
Okay, it's an excellent program. I hope we
it-
are
it's-
successful with at least one, if not 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's a very interesting opportunity that we haven't had anything like this before. So I think it'll probably be a while before we see the benefits of it, because the federal government is still setting up the infrastructure, and then some institutions and some larger institutions are going to have to set up these funds to receive the money and then turn around and invest it. They have to invest 90% of it into these qualified, chosen tracts. So at this point, our best bet is to get some of our community designated so that we'll be eligible when these become available. So, but I can already think of some companies that we've worked with in the past, or they're even working with now, that could use an infusion of capital that would help them grow. So.
Okay.
7's resolution adopting plans and specs for the city fuel island project. Tried to knock that windmill down enough, I'm just gonna let it go today. 8 is a resolution inviting proposals for land in the combined Flowing River urban renewal area, adopting the proposal of Aldi and setting a public hearing. Property within the Lot 2 of the Northern Valley payment to AG Construction for the 2017 utility flat work project. Mark, I know you talked to me about this deal, and I don't care how you do the work necessarily, but if you're gonna do it with your own crews, now you know what the benchmark is. I mean, I realize it's a unit price thing, so it went way over because you had them do a lot of work, which I'm not opposed to. But I wanna make sure that when, next year at this time, when you guys decide to do this on your own, you keep track of that, and I mean fairly. Let's be fair about it. And if you can't do it competitively, then do it like this. I don't think you're gonna do any better with your own crews, quite frankly, money-wise, and that diverts them away from other work that needs done than doing it this way, but maybe the rest of them disagree, but I'm not upset that it went over quantities. It happens because you went over on quantities, but you didn't go over on anything else. So why should you change direction, I guess? If their prices are good and you maybe can't compete with them, have our guys do other work that needs to be done.
We'll keep that in mind, Mayor.
Okay.
You agree? What are your thoughts, John?
I'll track it,
Yes.
see which way it goes.
Huh?
They'll track it
Okay.
and see which way. Good.
I'm good with that.
Thank you. 10 is a resolution fixing the amount assessed against private property and adopting and levying the schedules of assessments for the 2017 weed cutting program. 11 is a purchasing. A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Group Mobile for 40 A140 tablet computers for the police department. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Group Mobile for 35 in-car video system, 6 interview room video systems, and related hardware for the police department. Would you, please, I don't need to, I mean, I don't have any question. The only thing I would like you to do is walk down the hall and talk to the fire chief and say it is possible to get more than one bid if you really try. That's all I want you to do after the bid. Thank you.
I'll let him know.
You'll let them know? Thank you very much. Because I'm sure when they buy computers, we're gonna get one bid. I just have a feeling. 12 is approved total checks issued in the reporting period of February 2018 in the amount of $7,631,448.70. 13 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. 14 are receipt of minutes. See the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items, please come forward now. And the chief down there has it coming because he got me the other night at the 100th anniversary, so.
It was kind of funny.
The
We all got a chuckle.
$75,000.
I did have one question about those tablets. Are they Tough Books or Panasonics? I didn't find any info on what type they ordered.
They're much like the Panasonic Tough Books. That's what we've used in the past. They're all built to the same standard, different manufacturer.
Okay. Because I was trying to find that and look into that. And do you have to change any of the mounts, or the Panasonic Tough Books are staying, but you're just going to have a tablet in addition to that? No.
No, actually, the computer system that we have in place now has seen its service life, and we're having quite a bit of
Yeah.
problems. So we're pulling those out.
Yeah.
The mounts work, the Havas mounts for the computers work directly with the
Tablet
replacements.
side. And, okay. Okay. I think that's, thank you. I was just curious. Yeah.
Stop over and we can show you the squad cars. There's quite a bit of hardware in them now that we've got them running with cameras and computers and whatnot. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, no, I was talking with my dad about it because he does purchasing for their unit up in Okoboji and stuff. So I was just wondering kind of where, and then we were talking about storage and cloud versus the local. And one thing he said that their department or Arnold's Park is doing that he suggested looking into, and I don't think it's necessarily pertains maybe to these items, but he said that Taser International, and I assume we have a
do.
contract with Taser.
We do.
Said that they have a really good grant program going right now that he said if your guys aren't looking into it, they should be. So I was gonna talk to you afterwards, but.
And we have, we've looked at that in depth and sat with their salesmen. In fact, we had it almost reached an agreement before they came out with that, which slowed us down in the process.
Okay.
We ended up finding out that Taser didn't meet our needs because of the way the equipment's built, basically.
It's too bad. Yeah, because they were doing some promo with especially storage, like cloud storage of the.
They're giving away the equipment for free, and I believe the storage for 1 year, and then after that, you start paying the regular prices on it.
Okay.
They're still competitive with everybody else, though.
Yeah, yeah. I was just brainstorming with them, so I was just wondering how you guys.
Passes 5-0. 15 is a hearing and ordinance vacating the north-south alley bounded by 10th, 11th, Helen and Alice Streets. Petitioners Donald Grant Construction. P and Z recommends approval. I'll move first reading.
Second.
This was a request to vacate an alley by a landowner who wants to construct townhouses. There was no one speaking other than the landowner at the meeting. Susan Stewart, Chair, Planning and Zoning Commission, by the way.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Susan.
Passes 4-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
Nope.
I'll move it.
Second.
Ford,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capely.
Aye.
Just thinks he's gonna.
I'll move second, third.
Do everything here today.
He moved second.
Second, please. Two-man show, Rhonda.
I know it. Glad I'm a girl.
Passes 4-0. 16 is an ordinance amending zoning districts and land uses, development standards, administrative and definitions in Title 25 of the City Municipal Code. P and Z recommends approval of this item. I'll move it.
Second.
This is a proposed change to the zoning ordinance with a number of cleanup provisions. Probably the two items that elicited comment either from the commissioners or from the public were the definition of, we reconciled the definition of grocery store and convenience store. They were slightly different, and Jeff can explain that to you if you're interested. And also storage containers ordinances are added to allow temporary use of storage containers, I think 2 weeks in a driveway, 3 months in a non-residential area, and also has requirements for a site plan needed if anyone wants to install a permanent storage container. There were a couple of people who came who apparently wanted to place permanent storage containers and talked about them. But Jeff or Chris can talk to you more about what those people had to say if you're interested. But one of them wanted to place a storage container in the right of way. So these are generally cleanup ordinances. Other than those two, basically the storage container is the main one that's not of a clarifying nature.
But the grocery store was kind of different. Why was that not caught in the zoning changes?
Now, I'd ask Chris to address that, or Jeff.
Chris Madsen, planner. What we noticed in the mixed-use zoning district was convenience stores were allowed. However, a grocery store was a conditional use, and we actually just had a request for one of those. So working with the commission, we did determine to make those uses the same allowed within the mixed-use zoning district. And that's one of the items that spawned us to look at various different land uses in the code and find a couple that we thought needed to be changed. So we added a few more, such as the personal fitness in the GI zone and the dormitories in the public and institutional zone. So we did somewhat of a overlook of all of the different uses in the code and determined whether we should change a few of those.
Yeah, that didn't answer my question. I understand what you did. Why wasn't that recognized when we just did all that, is what I'm asking.
I don't think to this point we haven't had any grocery store requests in the mixed use zone, so we didn't recognize that that was an item that we needed to update until we had someone come forward with that request.
And we have had a couple, haven't we, recently, Chris?
Yeah, okay. I just wonder why the guy from Texas that did this didn't.
I think it was viewed that grocery stores typically are larger in nature than what a convenience store would be and maybe didn't fit. The only area that we have mixed use currently is Pierce Street, in the Pierce Street corridor. However, when we looked at that, there is currently one grocery store in that area. And since probably the only negative that we could find, which were staff and the commission determined that we needed to change that.
So if the downtown area gets a grocery store or a convenience store, it doesn't matter.
Downtown would be allowed. We only changed it in the mixed use zoning district.
Okay.
Downtown would be allowed? Did you say?
I'll verify really quick, but.
It'd be kind of bad if we were trying to get somebody to do a grocery store in downtown and we didn't have an ordinance that allowed it. I'd hope we'd look at that real fast, but.
Grocery store in DC would be allowed.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Chris.
Passes 4-0. Anybody opposed to waiving statutory rule?
No.
I'll move it.
Second.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
I'll move second and third.
Second.
Passes 4-0. Hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the Art Center panel replacement project. I'll move it.
Second.
18th, passes 4-0. 18 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the 2018 Discovery Parking Ramp Repair Project. I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 4-0. 19 is a hearing and resolution approving construction documents for the Morningside Avenue Reconstruction Project. I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 4-0. Any citizens to be heard, please come forward to the microphone. State your name and address for the record, please. Anyone to be heard? Seeing none, we'll go to council concerns. Rhonda?
Well, I'm concerned that my team will win tonight. Other than that, I have no concerns.
Are you Concordia? Bob?
Dakota Westland,
Concordia, that's what I thought.
I'm on the Sports Authority board, so we're sponsoring a team, and so we have Dakota Westland, and we're playing Xavier tonight, so it should be a good game. And then our mayor has Concordia, and he plays Northwestern tonight. So these are semifinals. So the winners go to the big dance tomorrow night. So that's what I got.
And I'll be rooting that your team gets one more win, Rhonda.
And I'll be rooting too, because then we'll be playing you maybe if you win. There you go.
I just wanted to get one more, is all.
Yeah, just one. I hear you.
Alex?
All right, so I would just encourage everyone to check out a few events around town. Some of them that I know are on my calendar is the Small Business Expo. It's gonna be taking place Thursday night. That's up at County Celebrations Event Center from 4:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. I know quite a few of the different small businesses around town going to be represented there. Hopefully we can have a great turnout and support them. Let's see, on Saturday, I mean, there's a legislative forum happening, as well as the warming shelter planning session. That's open to the public as well, right? That wasn't just community leaders.
I'll find out. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Because I'm pretty sure it's open to the public as well, if I remember right. But that's 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Stony Creek Conference Center again. That's the warming shelter strategic planning session. I think they do pretty instrumental work in our community, and I think are looking for our help and citizens' help with kind of the future vision and where we want to go. And so I'd encourage everyone to attend that if possible. And then there's also the parade that day, right? Isn't there the parade?
Mm-hmm.
Saturday?
But I guess we're not in it.
Wah, wah.
Did anybody sign up for the Stony Creek Conference, that one you just mentioned before the parade?
I gotta work.
I can make it.
And I'm going to try. I don't think I can get there at 8, but I'm going to be there.
Will you sign me?
It's already posted.
Is it? Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm going to try to go. I just can't be there right at 8. So, but otherwise, that's all I have, Mayor.
Good. Okay. A couple of things, Mayor. Our Board of Review has at least one opening. And so if you know of anyone that would like to serve on the Board of Review, and they listen to the assessment appeals primarily in May, I guess it spills over to June sometimes, doesn't it? And it just takes a lot of dedication and hard work, but we do have some openings on the Board of Review. And then I also wanted to announce that Heelan's announcement of the new gymnasium was really terrific, and it's just going to be a great addition to the community. As you all know, Heelan School, they're not unlike the other schools that we have in the Siouxland region. They're just great partners in the community, and it's just going to be a terrific addition. So that was really exciting to hear that news. And then lastly, we had attended a breakfast last week with the USS Sioux City, our namesake for the ship, and that was, you're going to be hearing a lot more about that as we roll into spring and summer, and then hopefully in fall they'll have the commissioning of the ship, and it's just really exciting to be a namesake city for something that great, so it's something we can all be proud of. That's all I have, Mayor.
Mayor, I got one thing. I sent a text this morning to Senator Bertrand to discuss the backfill that we're hope he doesn't go away, so I'm waiting to hear from him. I reminded him that to please read the email, so he understands where we're coming from, so hopefully I get a text back or a phone call.
And along that same line, I think Taylor Goodman was.
Sorry, I missed my chance for citizen concerns. To Taylor Goodman, Taxpayers Research Council. I wanted to just give a quick update on the Senate and House bill. The Senate bill, it's probably dead. The governor's gotten behind the House bill. So if anything is in the Senate bill that you want in the House bill or not in the House bill, it will happen within the next couple of weeks when they amend the House bill.
Is that the tax bill?
Yeah, 2383. The House one is 671, House File 671. That's in Ways and Means right now. And I just spoke with someone on the Hill. They're not expecting something to happen this week. And they termed it funnel proof, so it doesn't have to happen this week. And he's thinking that it will go to the House floor within 3 weeks. But the Senate bill is probably going to sit in the House Ways and Means, and nothing's going to happen with it. And really, I don't think there's any effect at the city level with both of those bills. The only difference was the corporate the corporate income tax was dropped from 12% to 7% in the Senate file. That's not in the House file, but it could be amended. So that's kind of where they sit there. Don't expect anything this week, so maybe next week, but he said at least this month, so that's a pretty good answer for them. So. But yeah, we have been following it, so if there's any questions, we can
Thank you.
help you guys out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is that it?
Do you have anything?
Yes, I do.
Oh, ready
No
then.
bulldogs or what?
Move to adjourn. We're working with an industry, but if people experience the odor smell that Rhonda and I experienced on Saturday night, please phone the utility department. Mark, would you come give them a phone? We can't do a lot of things until we have a certain number of complaints, but it certainly was rancid on Saturday night.
I agree.
Not good.
Yeah, Mark Sims, Utilities Director, and we have a number of mechanisms available for people to report an odor, just like reporting other concerns that they have. For us, the most efficient way to do that is if they would phone our odor control hotline, which is 712-202-3160. It's answered 24/7. There are times that the person carrying that is the only person, when you reach him or her, I guess it'd be him in this case, that he may not be immediately available, but he can return the call. They've been instructed what information to be able to gather. The more information that we can get, the better. We have other mechanisms, including the city website. You can go to sioux-city.org and that to streamline that a little bit more. I understand some people may have concerns about giving their phone number or their email address or other information. City code, I believe, Nicole, does protect those people if it's confidential. If they want to report that to us, we won't share their email address or their phone number publicly. We'll use it internally for purposes of tracking down the odor issue. And there is also an email address called reportanodor at sioux-city.org. I don't think many people use that. They do use the form and they do use the phone.
What was that number one more time?
712-202-3160.
Who answers that?
It's our operations staff carries that 24/7. So whoever's on duty that is the lead operator is carrying that. And we do respond as quickly as we can to those concerns. The one that the mayor's mentioned, we've responded a number of times to that physically ourselves, and we've also been made aware that there have been other government entities that have responded to that, as well as one of our fire stations has been there. If you'd like to entertain potential changes in city code, we can certainly look at those for you, but I think we're bound right now by what code says to do as far as enforcement. We do have 11 complaints so far that are legitimate complaints on this particular one, and we need 21 over a 6-month period. I'm not advertising for more complaints, but certainly if there are concerns, we need to hear about them and have the appropriate information given to us so that we can respond to that. So, is that okay?
Thank
Mayor?
you.
Okay.
I got one more thing. I just got a text from Senator Bertrand. He said, I do think they want to take a run at the backfill. I have stressed that state and city budget timelines do not sync, so nothing can be implemented in this year. My guess is they start a 3 or 4 year phase out next year. Rural legislators need the numbers, but we are maneuvering. So there we go.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Capron,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Water.
Aye.